Good evening friends. In today's video lecture, we will be discussing few numericals based on the three-phase concept. Before we start with the numericals, let us summarize the different formulae that we had derived in our previous lecture based on star and delta connection respectively. So as we know, for a three-phase, there are two different types of connection. One is star and one is delta. For a star connection, the line voltage is equal to √3 times of the phase voltage, and this line voltage leads the phase voltage by 30 degrees. On the other hand, for a delta connection, due to the absence of the neutral, the line voltage is equal to the phase voltage. Now coming to the current values. For a star connection, the line current is equal to the phase current due to the presence of the neutral. Whereas for a delta connection, the line current is √3 times of the phase current for a delta connection, and at the same time, this line current lags the phase current by 30 degrees. The phasor representation of these two connections have been carried out successfully in the previous videos. I hope you have understood that part. So there are few things that we will discuss about these connections, and then we'll start solving numericals. As we have discussed already in our previous video, that there are four parameters, 2 for line and 2 for phase. So 2 parameters for voltage, 2 parameters for line. But once we start solving the numericals, we will come across another important parameter that we have already encountered in our single phase numericals, and that parameter is Z phase or Z only. This Z is the impedance, and the impedance is the impedance of the load. So for a three-phase connection, when we will be discussing or we'll be solving the numericals, this Z or this impedance per phase will play a very important role. Now as you can recall over here, I have written always Z as Z subscript PH, which represents the impedance per phase. Now one must be curious about one thing, that why aren't we writing Z subscript L? The reason is, for our numericals in star and delta connection, one does not require a ZL. The load that is present across the phase cannot be represented across the line by using any formula. So if you are trying to convert this phase to line by multiplying a factor of √3, it means it is incorrect. Often students get confused and they commit a mistake in this place. For a three-phase system, please be clear about one thing, that there is only one impedance of the load, and that impedance is called as Z phase. Or in other words, the impedance of the load is called as Z phase only. This is a very basic requirement that one must remember before solving the numericals based on three-phase concepts. So what have we learned so far? There are 4 parameters. One is VL, one is V phase, one is IL, one is I phase. These 4 parameters are already known to you. We have already covered them in our previous classes. And finally, there is one more parameter that we have to consider, that is Z phase. So in all, there are 5 parameters and one has to work using these 5 parameters. When we had solved the single phase numericals, we had already understood the concept of lead and lag, and one is also aware the representation of the angles associated with the impedance or with the current if it is a lead or a lag. Now this factor is very important, and we'll revise this once again before we solve the numericals. So what have we studied for our single phase circuits? So let me make a column. The first column represents the current, the second column will represent the impedance. We will take into account the representation of angles, whether those angles were coming out to be positive or negative, for a lead or a lag circuit. Now one is already aware of this thing, that if it is a lead, then it is capacitive in nature, and if it's a lag, then it's inductive in nature. So let me write here lag, and this is lead. Now when a circuit is inductive in nature, the power factor presented by that particular circuit, or the phase difference between the voltage and the current, would be of lagging type. So under such circumstances, the angle which will be carried by the current would be a negative value. If under the lag conditions, the current carries a negative value of the angle, the impedance will carry exactly the opposite. For a lag circuit, the value of the impedance will carry a positive angle. So this is the set that we have already studied in a single phase circuit. For an inductive circuit, the current will carry a negative value of the angle and the Z will carry a positive value of the angle. Similarly, for a lead circuit, the current carries a positive value of the angle and the Z will carry the negative value of the angle. Now, why is this thing important and why are we discussing this right now? The reason is, the way we had solved the single phase numericals, we will be solving the three phase numericals in the similar fashion, but there will be a single difference. As we have already seen, for a three phase circuits, there is a phase difference between the line voltage and the phase voltage for a star connection, and there is a difference between the line current and the phase current for a delta connection. They are already carrying a phase difference of 30 and 30. Over here it's a lag, over here it's a lead. So while solving the numericals in three phase circuits, our main concern is with the angle of the impedance. For rest of the parameters, whether it is a VL, IL, V phase or I phase, we shall not be using the angle values along with their quantities as we used to do for a single phase circuit. For a three phase circuit, VL, IL, V phase, I phase, you will have to solve the numericals only on their magnitude basis. The sole angle will be carried out by this parameter called as Z phase. And please do remember, there is no quantity called as ZL while solving the numericals for a three phase circuit. Do not try to convert this load impedance present per phase into ZL. That is incorrect. So while solving these three phase numericals, we will just be focused with the angle that is being carried by this Z phase. And the concept remains the same. If the Z carries a positive angle, it means it is an inductive circuit. So likewise we have to act. And if the Z phase carries a negative angle, so it is a capacitive circuit. And likewise we have to understand, or we have to infer that the current would start carrying a positive angle. But we shall not mention this angle with the current quantity while solving the numericals. So this is a slight difference that we will be following while solving these three phase circuit numericals. And the numericals that we will be solving over here would comprise of a balanced system. By balanced system, it means the values of the voltages across all the phases in the sources side are same, and all the numericals will be based on balanced load, which means this Z phase for all the phases would be same. So let us now start solving with our first numerical. So this is our first numerical. Before I begin with this numerical, I will be informing you one thing, that in this video lecture, I'll be solving 7 numericals based on 3 phase concepts comprising of star connected load as well as delta connected load. So these are different varieties of questions that one can come across. So I hope whatever doubts you have regarding the star and the delta connections, those things might get cleared after the solving of the numericals. So this is the first question. It says 3 coils. Likewise, single phase. Over here, you will have all the concepts. you will have coils into picture, you will have a series RLC circuit into picture, you might have a parallel connected load. So every concept that we have studied earlier can be asked in a three-phase numerical. So coils. What do we mean by a word coil? The coil refers to the fact that it comprises of a resistor in series with an inductor. So there are three coils, each having a resistance and an inductance of 8 ohm and 0.02 Henry. And they are connected in star. So let us now represent a star connection. So this is a star connection representing R, Y and B. And each box represents the load, which is represented as Z phase. And what is the value of this Z phase? The value of the Z phase is a series coil comprising of a resistor in series with an inductor. This Z phase, comprising of a star connection, is connected in star across a three-phase 230 volts 50 Hertz supply. Now, as we had discussed in our previous video lecture, in the numericals for a single phase, the value of Vrms is always mentioned. Similarly, for a three-phase circuit, when the numerical is being asked, the RMS value of the line voltage would be always given to us. So this is a very important point. For single phase, the Vrms is always specified. For a three-phase, the line voltage is always specified. So what can we get from this numerical? That VL is equal to 230 volts and it is a star connection. And the value of the frequency is also mentioned. So what are the parameters that we are required to find out? In all, we are supposed to find out 5 parameters. The first one being find the power factor. Now going back to the basics of power factor, the power factor is the cosine of the angle between the voltage and the current. In a three-phase circuit, there are 2 voltages and 2 currents. So which one should we take into consideration? So please remember, or you can note down this thing. For a three-phase circuit, the angle phi, which will eventually give us the power factor by taking the cosine, is the angle between the phase voltage and the phase current. So this is very, very important, that in order to find out the power factor, we have to figure out the cosine of the phase difference. And this phase difference is the angle between the phase voltage and the phase current. Do not get confused that this angle is the angle difference between VL and IL. This is incorrect. Phi is always the angle between V phase and I phase. Since phi is the angle between V phase and I phase, the Z phase plays a very important role while solving the numericals in a three-phase circuit, whether it is a star connection or a delta connection. So let us start our analysis by solving the Z phase first. So Z phase is given as a series RL circuit. I am redrawing here for the reference. The value of L is mentioned. So this Z phase comes out to be R plus JXL. This is already known to us from the single phase concepts. So we need to figure out the value of XL, which is given as omega L. Now the value of F is given to us in this. So on substituting the value of F and L, XL will come out to be 6.28 ohms. Draw the star connection as well. So what will be the value of Z phase? It will be 8 plus J 6.28. Converting this rectangular coordinates into the polar form, it comes out to be 10.17 angle 38.13. Now here is the most important aspect that we had discussed in our second slide of this video lecture. This angle is very, very important. For solving the three-phase numericals, we are not going to use the angles with any of the parameters of VL, IL, V phase or I phase. It is only the Z phase which will carry this angle. And what is the angle that is being carried out by the Z phase? It is positive. So remember the table that we had constructed? For Z being positive, it implies that the circuit is inductive in nature. So naturally, the I phase will carry a negative angle. It is understood. And yes, one more thing. The relationship of Z phase is with V phase and I phase only, which means Z phase is equal to V phase upon I phase. This is correct. If someone writes Z phase as VL upon IL, that is absolutely incorrect. So one has to be very careful while writing this expression. The first thing is the cosine of the angle, that phi, is the phase difference between V phase and I phase, and Z phase is the relationship between V phase and I phase only. Actually, these two things are interrelated and one has to be very careful. Do not ever write that Z phase is equal to VL upon IL. It is incorrect. Z phase is equal to V phase upon I phase. So now we know the magnitude of the Z phase and we have already obtained the angle of the Z phase. From the angle of the Z phase, the angle being positive, it has been inferred that the circuit is inductive in nature. So what will be the value of cos phi? Cos phi will be cos of 38.13 degrees. Now once again you have to remember, while solving this, the angle is always in degrees. So while using the scientific calculator, always do a checking of sine 30 degrees. If the calci shows the answer of 0.5, it means your scientific calculator is taking the value of the angles in degrees. Else it would be taking in radians and you have to convert it from the radian mode to degrees mode. So solving cosine of 38.13 degrees, it comes out to be 0.786. Since this is cos phi, you have to mention whether it is lagging or leading. So it is lagging, which has been inferred from the angle value of the Z phase. So we have already solved the first bit, that is power factor. What does the second bit says? Find out the line current. So let us see how we are solving this part. So it's a star connection. I'm just drawing the star connection for our reference. One has to figure out the value of the line current. Now for a star connection, what is the relationship between the line current and phase current? Due to the presence of this neutral, IL is equal to I phase. So if one knows the value of I phase, that can be directly equated to IL. Now how to figure out the value of I phase? As I had already discussed in the previous slide, Z phase is equal to V phase upon I phase. Is the value of V phase known to us? Not yet. Is the value of Z phase known to us? Yes. So first, let us find out the value of V phase, then we can find out the value of I phase. So what was given to us in the question? The value of VL. The value of VL was mentioned as 230 volts. For a star connection, VL is equal to √3 times V phase. So V phase would come out to be VL upon √3. Upon substituting this value, one obtains V phase as 132.79 volts. I am repeating the point which I discussed earlier once again. While solving the numericals, the phase difference between VL and V phase are not to be considered. In a phasor representation, we had obtained that VL leads V phase by 30 degrees, but we shall not be using this 30 degrees while solving the numericals. We have dropped all the angles from all the 4 parameters. The angle will be only carried out by the Z phase for a 3-phase system. Why am I asking you to do this? The reason why I am asking you is this eases our method of solving the numericals. If we start considering the angle difference between VL and V phase, it will add to more complexities while solving the numericals. In order to keep these numericals simple, as well as in order to make it easier for you to solve the numericals, it is advisable that you use the value of the angle only with the impedance per phase. One must be very clear about one thing over here. The numericals of three-phase are known to be the easiest numericals. But if the phase differences are not taken care of wisely, then one can commit mistakes and errors. So now let us move on to the numerical part. V phase is given out to be 132.79. So over here we'll only be considering the magnitude parts. No angles are to be considered. Angle will be considered only while computing the Z phase. We are not computing the Z phase over here. The parameter or the value of the Z phase is already been computed, and the value of the angle is also known to us. So what is I phase? I phase is V phase upon Z phase. Upon substituting the values, the I phase comes out to be 13.05 amps. So with this we have solved the second bit as well. The third bit says find out the power. So what is the expression for power? The expression that one must be using to compute the power is either 3 V phase I phase cos phi or root 3 times VL IL cos phi. These are the two expressions of power for a three-phase system. So you can use either of it. I generally prefer to use this expression for computing the real power. P represents real power. Is the value of VL known to us? Yes. IL is known to us. We have just computed in our previous slide, and the value of cos phi is also known to us. Upon substituting the values, one can obtain the power as 4.088 kilowatts. So in this way, the value of power has been obtained. But there is one more thing. It's mentioned here power. Nothing has been mentioned. It's just mentioned power. So one has to understand that by power, it refers to the real power. Power will be never referred to as reactive power or apparent power. Power means it is always the real power. Now coming on to the next bit, which is reactive volt amperes. Reactive volt amperes means, so the question is asking us to figure out the value of the reactive power. Now there are two ways in which the reactive power can be computed. One is root 3 VL IL sin phi or 3 V phase I phase sin phi, or this is a very important derivation, and I prefer to use this expression to find out the reactive power, P tan phi. Now one must be wondering how I obtained this value of P tan phi. Remember our power triangle from the single phase circuits? The triangles would remain the same because three phase means it is a combination of three single phases. So for a single phase, how did the power triangle look like? This is P. The positive y-axis represented the Q, and the net is represented by the apparent power, and this is the power factor angle phi. So what would be the expression of tan phi? Tan phi is Q upon P, or tan phi relates the real power with reactive power. So what can one obtain from this expression? The value of Q can be written as P tan phi. So this is what I'll be using, or you can use either of these three expressions to obtain the value of reactive power. All these three expressions are going to give you the same value. And yes, one more thing, why I prefer using this? Because the value of cos phi is known to us. But in order to compute the reactive power, one needs to obtain the sin phi. Now in order to find out the sin phi, I have to obtain the value of phi, which will be the cos inverse of the power factor. And from there again I have to do sin phi. If I am using P tan phi, I already know the value of phi. Instead of going for sin phi, I can do tan phi and solve the value. So my objective of saying this is, we have to eventually figure out the value of phi because that is not known to us. So you can either go for sin phi or you can go for tan phi. So going with this expression P tan phi, the value of P is 4.088 into 10 raised to the power 3 because it is in kilowatts into tan of phi. So let us quickly figure out what is the value of phi. Now for this question, one need not figure out the value of phi because we had computed the cos phi by finding out the value of phi that has come out in the z phase. So phi is already known to us, which is 38.18 degrees lag. So taking tan of this, the final expression comes out to be 3.2088 kilovar. Even if you are using this expression of root 3 VLIL times sin phi, one would obtain the same expression. So with this, one has computed the reactive power. So with this, we have solved the fourth bit, which is reactive volt amperes. Let us move on to the fifth bit, which says find out the total volt amperes. The unit of reactive power is volt amperes reactive. And what is the unit of apparent power? It is volt amperes. So the final bit is asking us to figure out the apparent power. What is the expression of apparent power? It is root 3 times VLIL, or it is 3 times of V phase I phase, or if we relate this value of apparent power with the real power, one can obtain it is P upon cos phi. I am drawing the power triangle once again. It's P, Q, and this is S, and this is phi. So cos phi is given as P upon S. So S is P upon cos phi. The value of cos phi is readily available because in most of the questions one will be asked to figure out the value of cos phi, and power is also asked in most of the questions. So both the values are known to us. So using both the values, one can figure out the value of S. So these are the three sets of expressions that one can use. However, I'll be solving numericals based on this expression, as the values of the numerator and denominator both are known to me. So the value of S will come out to be, now this is the value of P that you have obtained earlier, and this is the value of cos phi. Now since P was obtained in kilowatts, you must write 10 raised to the power 3. So the final value of the apparent power comes out to be 5.198 kilovolt amperes. So one can try using these expressions as well, but finally the final value will come out to be this. So with this, we have solved all the 5 bits. So this was the basis on which we have to solve the remaining numericals. As I have already said, in this video lecture we'll be solving 7 numericals. So now let us move on with the second numerical. So second numerical says there is a balanced delta connected load. So let us represent a delta connected load. So this is RYB. This is how a delta connected load would look like. Now the question is, what is the value of that load? By load, it refers to Z phase of impedance 8 minus J times 6 per phase. So Z phase is given as 8 minus J6. Now there is a quick recap. Now since the impedance is of the nature 8 minus J6, what can we infer? We can infer that the load is a series RC. Had it been a RL load, the value of the Z phase would have been R plus JXL. However, in the question, the value of the load per phase is given out to be R minus J times the reactance. Now, if there is a minus sign, it clearly implies that it is a capacitive reactance. So, it is a RC load. So, this is how one has to infer from the loads as well. You must take care of the words like coil. By coil, it means it's a series RL circuit. Or if it is mentioned as a minus between the reactance and the resistance values, then it is a series RC circuit. So it is connected to a 3-phase 230 volts. Now, as we had discussed in our first question itself, the value of the voltage given to us in the numerical is always a line voltage for a three-phase circuit. I am writing it here once again. For a single phase, the value of the voltage provided in the question is Vrms. For a three-phase, the value of the voltage provided in the question is a line voltage. Unless and until it has not been specifically mentioned that the phase voltage is given to you, the value is always the line voltage. So the value of the line voltage is given as 230 volts. At the same time, the value of frequency has been given to us as 50. So what are the bits that we need to work out? First is the power factor. Now what is power factor? I am writing here once again. Power factor is the angle between V phase and I phase. In order to find out the angle between V phase and I phase, what is that quantity which connects both of these? It is Z phase. If we know the value of the Z phase, by value I mean if we know the magnitude of the Z phase as well as the angle of the Z phase, the value of the cos phi can be figured out easily. Now Z phase is given as 8 minus Z6 ohms. Convert this rectangular form into polar form. I've converted this rectangular into polar form. Now you can see over here that the Z is carrying the angle value as negative. And from our table that we had framed earlier in the slides, negative angle with Z implies it is a capacitive circuit, which we had already inferred by this negative value. If it is a capacitive circuit, which means it is a leading circuit. So what will be the value of cos phi? Cos phi will be cos of 36.87. Please do not take cos of negative 36.87. The value of the phi is always positive. It was already being told to you in the single phase circuits numericals. Value of the phi is always positive. The negative or the positive angle associated with this phi tells you whether the circuit is lead or lag type, indirectly whether it is inductive or capacitive. So the cos of 36.87 comes out to be 0.8, and one has to mention the type of the circuit, it is leading. So with this we have solved the first bit. What is the second bit asking us to do? Line current. Now what type of circuit are we dealing with? It's a delta circuit. What is the relationship between the line current and the phase current for a delta circuit? The line current is √3 times the phase current, and VL is equal to V phase for a delta circuit. Is the value of VL known to us? Yes, we had obtained this value from the numerical question itself. So value of V phase will be equal to VL for a delta circuit, which is given out to be 230 volts. Please write it delta connection, or you can simply write delta as well. Now how can one figure out the line current? In order to figure out the line current, you have to figure out the value of the phase current first, because the Z phase is the relationship between V phase and I phase only. Please do not relate Z phase as VL upon IL. This is wrong. So the value of Z phase is known to us, V phase is known to us. From here we can find out the value of I phase. And one will be using only the magnitude of the Z phase. In the three-phase numericals, none of the parameters of voltages and currents will carry the angles. The angle will be carried by the phase impedance. So it comes out to be 23 amps. So once the value of I phase is known to us, what will be the value of IL? IL is √3 times of I phase. Please mention it's a delta connection. So upon substituting the values, it comes out to be 39.84 amps. So with this we have solved the second bit as well. What is the third bit asking us to do? Find out the power consumed. Power consumed refers to the real power. The expression of real power is either using VLIL or you can use V phase I phase. So using this expression, root 3 times VL/IL. So the value of real power comes out to be 12.696 kilowatts. So with this, the third bit is also done. The final bit asks us to figure out the reactive power. There are three expressions for reactive power. So these are three sets of expressions for reactive power. I prefer to use the last one, which is P tan phi. The value of phi was obtained in the Z phase expression. So upon substituting the values, the reactive power comes out to be 9.522 kilowatt. So this numerical was for a balanced delta connected load. The previous numerical was for a balanced star connected load. So I think with these two basic numericals, one has now got a clear idea of how to work out with a star connected load and a delta connected load, and what are the various expressions that one can use for obtaining the power, especially the reactive power and apparent power. So let us now move on to the third numerical. So now we move on to our third question. This is a very important question. Please note it down. This is a very important question, and this will help expand your concepts of three-phase to one step ahead. So what does the question says? A 415 volts with a frequency of 50 Hz, three-phase voltage is applied to a three star connected identical impedances. Three star connected identical impedances refers to a balanced load. And since the value of the voltage is mentioned over here, so it is a line voltage, and the value of frequency is given out to be 50. Each impedance consists of a resistance, a capacitance, and an inductance. So let us first draw a star connection. So this is a star connected load. It says that they have identical impedances, which refers to the fact that the Z phase is same for all. Now the question is, what is the value of the Z phase? Now the Z phase is given as a series combination of RC and L, or RLC circuit, with the value of R, C and L given to us. From here, can we figure out the value of this impedance that is present per phase? Yes. For a series RLC circuit, the impedance is represented as R plus JXL minus JXC. So prior to writing this Z phase, one must know the value of XL and XC. The value of F is known to us. Can we figure out the value of XL and XC? Yes. So let us do that first. XL is equal to omega L, which is 2 pi F times of the L. So upon substituting the values, the value of the inductance is in Henry itself, so you need not multiply any other value. So it comes out to be 31.42 ohms. Likewise, the value of XC, which is given as 1 upon omega C. Now over here, the value of C is given in microfarads. So one has to multiply 10 raised to the power minus 6. The capacitive reactance comes out to be 17.98 ohms. So with this, both the value of XL and XC are known. Substitute these values here. One can obtain 15 plus J times of 31.42 minus J times of 17.98. So this is the total value of the impedance that is present in every phase for a three-phase system. Now what does the first bit says? The first bit says find out the power factor. Now again we'll go with the same concept, that in order to find out the power factor, one must figure out the value of phi between V phase and I phase. And who carries this value of phi or the angle phi that captures the relationship between V phase and I phase? The angle is present in Z phase. So let us now convert this rectangular form of Z phase to its polar form and capture the power factor value phi. I'm writing the value of Z phase over here once again in the rectangular form. Now transforming this rectangular form to polar form, one can obtain the value of Z phase as 20.14 angle 41.86 degrees. Let me draw a star connection for the reference. Now this value of angle is the power factor angle, and from the table that we had created earlier, the value of this angle is positive. So what is the nature of the total circuit that we are considering? It is inductive in nature. So phi is 41.86 degrees. Phi is always positive. However, one has to mention whether it is lead or lag. This is a lag. And cos phi is cos of 41.86 degrees, which comes out to be 0.744. Again, one has to mention whether it is lead or lag. Over here, it is lag. So these things are already known to us, and now it is very easy for us to compute. So with this, we have done the first bit. The second bit says find out the phase current. Now these three parameters are very important, whether it is a star connection or a delta connection. The value of Z phase is known to us. The value of V phase is normally not known to us, but since the value of VL is always given to us in the question, using the type of connection, whether it is star or delta, one can obtain the value of V phase. And from there, one can get the value of I phase. Now let us solve for the value of I phase. I phase would be V phase upon Z phase. The value of VL is given to us as 415 volts. This is a star connection. So what will be V phase? V phase is VL upon root 3 because it's a star connection. So by substituting this value of 415 in place of VL, the value of V phase comes out to be 239.6 volts. So substitute this value of V phase in the expression of I phase. The value of Z phase is also known to us. Just use the magnitude because the angle is not important. Finally, the value of I phase comes out to be 11.9 amps. So with this, we have solved the second bit as well. What does the third phase says? Line current. Now this is a star connection. For a star connection, line current is always equal to the phase current. The value of phase current has already been known to us. So the line current has the same value as that of the phase current. So let us write down the value of IL. So one has to write that IL is equal to I phase. In bracket, one must mention it's a star connection. So the value of IL is also equal to 11.9 amps. With this, the third bit is also solved. The next bit is asking us to find out the active power. Active power refers to the real power, which is P. Let us see how to solve that. The value of P is given as either root 3 VL IL cos phi or 3 V phase I phase cos phi using this expression. Substitute the values. VL is given to us as 415, IL has come out to be 11.9 and cos phi is 0.744. The value of power comes out to be 6.363 kilowatts. So the fourth bit is, the next bit is asking us, over here there is a slight typo error. This next bit is total VA, which is S. Then the next bit is the phasor diagram showing phase and line voltages and phase currents. So our next bit is the total VA. Volt ampere is the unit of apparent power. So one must figure out the value of apparent power. So how to obtain the value of apparent power? There are three sets of expressions for it. So these are the three expressions that one can use to find out the apparent power. However, I will be using this expression to figure out the value of apparent power. The value of P is known to us and the cos phi value is, so the apparent power comes out to be 8.5524 volt amperes. So with this we have solved the second bit as well. Now what is the final bit asking us to do? Find out the phasor diagrams showing the phase and line voltages. Phase and line voltages as in V phase and VL as well as I phase. Now this is a star connection. We have already worked out with the phasor representation of a star connection as well as of a delta connection in our previous video lecture. So using that, we have to represent this load into that phasor diagram. So there will be only one difference in this phasor diagram. The entire phasor diagram would remain the same. Over here, we have to draw the phase currents. And now we know what is the angle between the V phase and the I phase. So that has to be mentioned on the phasor diagram. So let us draw the phasor diagram. In order to draw the phasor diagram, there has to be a reference. So one knows that V phase is always the reference for drawing the phasor diagram for star or a delta connection. So what are we supposed to represent in our phasor diagram? VL, V phase, I phase. So first of all, we must draw a star connection. This is R, this is Y, this is B. Now what is important for a star connection while drawing the phasor diagram? The phase voltages and the line voltages should be properly marked, and the relationship between the line voltage along with its respective phase voltages should be known to us. Since this is a star connection, there is a neutral. So these black lines represent the phase voltages, which are VRN, VYN, VBN. These are the phase voltages. Let us mark the line voltages with a different color. Now with green, the line voltages are marked, which are VRY, VYB, VBR. Now apart from this, one must also know the relationship of the line voltage with respect to its corresponding phase voltage. So what was the expression? Let us note it down. VRY is equal to VRN minus VYN. Likewise for VYB and finally for VBR. This thing has been covered in detail in our previous video lecture. So now taking this as our base, we have to represent the phasor diagram. So we had represented the VL and the V phase in our phasor representation of a star connection. What is new in this question is they are asking us to represent the I phase also, that is the phase current for a star connection as well. So let me start drawing. First the base. The reference will be taken as the phase voltages, which is VRN. 120 degrees apart, it is VYN. 120 degrees apart, it is VBN. Once we know the phase voltages, we can very easily draw the phase currents. So this is the only different part that has been asked to us in this question. The phase voltages and the phase currents are always related by an angle, that is phi, which is called as the power factor angle. In this question, the cos phi has come out to be 41.86 degrees. Now what is the phase current? Phase current, now if you look onto this star representation, phase current is the current which actually flows through the phase. This is the current, but it is also same as the line current for a star connection. So for a star connection, IL is equal to I phase. Now as we had obtained that this is a lag circuit. Lag circuit means the phase current would lag the phase voltage, because eventually if it is an inductive circuit, the current has to lag the voltage. So this is the phase current, which can be represented as either IRN or IRY. Because for the star connection, the line current is equal to the phase current. So you can use either of these notations or you can use both the notations by putting an oblique sign in between. Now what is very important in this question is the representation of this angle phi. You do not have to mention here 41.86 degrees. For that you can write over here. Actually it is not cos phi, it is only the angle of phi, which is 41.86. The value of cos phi would be the cosine of this angle. So you can just mention here on the top the value of phi, and you can represent the phi, or you can show the angle phi in the circuit. So likewise we have to do for all the three phases. So I have done for both the phases. For Y phase I have to mention here IYN or IYB, and this will be IBN or IBR. So with this, the phase voltages and the phase currents are represented in the phasor diagram. Now the last part is you have to represent the line voltage. Line voltages can be represented using these sets of expressions. For a phasor diagram, you have to work out for all the three phases. This is not mathematical derivation that you would do it for a single phase. You have to work out for all the three phases. So let us begin with the first line voltage, which is VRY. It is given as the vector addition of VRN, which is the first voltage, along with the negative of VYN, which is the second phase voltage. So how can one represent negative VYN? This is how one can represent the negative of VYN. Using the parallelogram method of vector addition, the line voltage VRY is obtained. And this angle is 30 degree, and it is a positive 30 degree. Why positive 30 degree? If you start from the phase voltage and go towards the line voltage, we are going in the anti-clockwise direction, which implies that this line voltage is ahead of this phase voltage. So line voltage leads the phase voltage by 30 degrees. Now coming for the second line voltage, which is VYB. VYB is the vector addition of the Y phase voltage and the negative of the B phase voltage. So let us draw the negative of VN, draw a parallelogram, and this is the final line voltage, which is VYB. Drawing an angle from the phase voltage to the line voltage, it is going in anti-clockwise direction, and there is a phase lead of plus 30 degrees. I must remind you here something. You have to draw these phasor diagrams using pencil and scale. No freehand drawing is allowed for drawing the phasor diagrams. Now moving on to the last line voltage, which is VBR. That is the phasor addition of VBN along with the negative of the R phase. So let us now draw the negative of R phase. This is minus VRN. A parallelogram has been made. This is the line voltage VBR. Now moving from the phase voltage VBN towards VBR, there is a phase lead of 30 degrees. So this is the complete phasor diagram representation of a star connected load representing the line voltages, the phase voltages and the phase currents. In fact, we have also represented the line currents as well, because for a star connection, the line current and the phase currents are equal. So with this, we have completed the final bit of the question as well. But we are not yet done with the numerical. Now look over here. The extended part of the question says, if the same impedances are connected in delta, find the line current, power consumed and reactive power. Now this is a very, very important thing. That is why I had asked you to write this question as important, because the first 5 bits were easy. The phasor diagram is also easy, only with the inclusion of the phasor current. This part is very important. The same load impedances, which is Z phase, now are connected in delta. Now what does that mean? It means the load would remain the same, but now they would be connected in a delta manner. Now over here, one must not get confused with this, that one has to transform this star to delta. No, it does not mean that. It means keep the phase loads as they are. Just make a delta connection using those loads. This is a very crucial point, and I am repeating it once again. Same impedances connected in delta mean keep the load impedances in each phase the same. Just change the structure. It is asking us to change the structure from star to delta, keeping the load value same. It does not mean that you transform the star connection to delta connection, or it does not mean you transform the star connection of loads to the delta connection of loads. By transforming star to delta, these values will also change. This question is not asking us to do that. This question is asking us to keep these values same and make a delta connection. So now let us see how we can work out with that. So let us now first draw the connection, then we'll move forward with the bits. The same loads are connected in delta. So I'm drawing a delta connection first. Now this is a complete delta connection. This is R, Y, B. This is the load impedance in every phase. Now since it has been clearly mentioned that the same impedances are connected in delta, I did not compute the value of delta once again. The value of delta would remain the same. This is the entire representation of the load impedance, which will be finally obtained as 20.14 angle 41.86 degrees ohms. This has been already obtained by us while solving the star connection as well. So this value of Z phase remains the same. And now we have to work out with the numerical. Now there is one important aspect that one has to remember. When the structure of a load is changed from a star to a delta type, one must be wondering that all the parameters would remain same. But one is wrong. When you are changing the structure from star to delta, there are only two values which would remain same. One is Z phase and another one is the line voltage. Why this would remain same? Because this comes directly from the supply. So whether it is a star connected load or a delta connected load, the line voltage remains the same. But yes, the phase voltage might differ according to the expressions that we have obtained. But when we are changing the structure from star to delta or from delta to star, either way, there are only two things that would remain same. The first thing is, you are not going to do the star delta transformation. Only the structure is going to get changed and the value of Z phase shall remain the same. And the second thing is, the line voltage would remain the same. No other parameter would remain the same. And this I had told while deriving the expressions of power, that even though the expressions of power have come out to be same, the values will never come out to be same. So in this numerical, we are going to see what will be the values of the real power, apparent power and reactive power. They will never come out to be same, they will be different because they change with the change in the structure. For star connection, the values of power obtained would be different for the delta connection. So this part is important and one must remember that when we are changing the load, I'm just talking of the load changing the structure. Here we are not talking anything about the source. When the load is changing the structure from star to delta or from delta to star, there are only two parameters which would remain same. One is Z phase, another one is the line voltage. Leaving these two parameters, none of the parameters are going to remain the same. They will change with the change in the structure. So let us work out. So with this, the Z phase remains the same. Whatever was the value of Z phase that we had obtained for the star connection would remain the same for the delta as well. At the same time, the value of VL would remain the same, which has come out to be 415 volts. It was already mentioned or given to us in the question. So let us see what is the first bit. The first bit is asking us to find out the line current. Now do not use any parameters that you have obtained for a star connection, because we already know to find out the star connection one requires the value of the phase current. So one must not just jump into the value of the phase current that one has obtained from the star connection and put it over here. We have to work everything in a fresh manner for the delta connection. Why is it so? Because our structure has changed, and since our structure has changed, we have only two values that remain the same. One is Z phase, one is line voltage. So since it is a delta connection, what is the phase voltage? Phase voltage is equal to the line voltage because it's a delta connection. So it will come out to be 415 volts. Now what is the value of I phase? I phase is always V phase upon Z phase, irrespective of the structure. Now the value of V phase for a delta connection is changed. However, the value of Z phase remains the same as we had obtained earlier. The values of V phase and Z phase are known to us, 20.16 amps. Now what is the question asking us to figure out? The value of line current. For a delta connection, the value of line current is √3 times of the phase current. Write it in bracket, it is a delta connection. So substitute these values of I phase into this IL expression, and the IL value comes out to be 35.69 amps. Now which is definitely not the same for a star connection. You can compare these values, or after solving this entire question, I'll draw a comparison between all the values that we had noted down. So the first bit is done. Moving on to the second and third bit, it says find out the power consumed and the reactive power, which means we have to find out the values of P and Q. So what is the expression for real power? It is either √3 times VL IL cos phi or 3 times V phase I phase cos phi. We'll go with this expression. I've substituted the values. The value of VL is 415, value of IL was just obtained earlier, and value of cos phi. Since Z phase remains the same, so value of cos phi would also remain the same, which was obtained earlier as 0.744. The value of real power comes out to be 19.086 kilowatts. Likewise, we can obtain the value of reactive power. There are three expressions, however, I shall be using P tan phi. 19.086 multiplied with 10 raised to the power 3 into tan of 41.86 degrees, which comes out to be 17.101 kilowatt. Since I'm going to draw a difference between both the star connection as well as the delta connection, let us obtain the value of apparent power as well, which is P upon cos phi. The value of P is known to us and the value of cos phi is also known to us. The value of S will come out to be 25.653 kilovolt amperes. So with this, we have obtained the sets of values asked for a star connection. Now the structure of the load was changed. Then the loads were being connected in delta structure. Now let us note down all the values for both these connections and let us see whether they came out to be same or different. They have obviously come out to be different, but there is a very important thing. There is a very small derivation over here. Let us figure out that thing. Now for the same set of question, on the left hand side I am writing it as star because star was the first thing that we solved, and the second part of the question was dealing with delta. The value of VL remained same for both, as we had already discussed. The value of Z phase is also same for both the connections. What was the value of V phase for a star connection? Since for a star connection VL and V phase are not same, the V phase has come out to be 239.6 volts. Now these values were already obtained. I'm just writing it over here to draw an inference. V phase over here came out to be 415 volts. I phase came out to be 11.9 amps. For a star connection, I phase and IL are same. So these two values are same. For a delta connection, VL and V phase came out to be same. What about I phase and IL? I phase came out to be 20.16, whereas IL came out to be 35.69 amps. For a delta connection, they are usually different by a factor of √3. Now coming to the power values. There are three powers: real, reactive and apparent. We have obtained the three powers for star connection as well as for the delta connection. Now I have noted down the expressions or the values of power for star as well as delta connection. Now here we can see none of the powers, that is the real power of star is not equal to the real power of delta. The reactive power of star is not equal to the reactive power of delta. The apparent power of star is not equal to the apparent power of delta. So one thing is clear to us now. Even though the expressions of powers are same for a star and a delta connection in a three-phase system, the values obtained would be different for a star and a delta connection. So this point has already been proved. Now over here, there is a striking similarity between the power obtained for star and the power values obtained for delta. Let us have a look. The power for a star has come out to be 6 point something, and the value of power for a delta for the same load, the Z phase remains the same in both the cases. The Z phase is not changed, has come out to be 19 point something. Now upon multiplying 3 with the power obtained in star, are we obtaining the value of power in delta? Yes. If you multiply 6.363 with 3, you will obtain the real power that was obtained for a delta connection with the same Z phase value. The same holds true for reactive power as well. Multiply 3 to the reactive power obtained for a star connection and you shall obtain the reactive power for a delta connection. Multiply 3 with the apparent power obtained for a star connection and one shall obtain the apparent power for a delta connection. So the important derivation over here is the power for a delta connection when the loads remaining same are being connected in delta, they will be 3 times of the power obtained for a star connection, or power obtained for a star connection for the loads remaining same. By loads remaining same, I mean the value of Z phase would remain same. That is not changing. When we are transforming from delta to star with the load values remaining same, the powers of the star side would be 1 upon 3 times the power obtained on the delta side. So this expression one can remember, and when questions of these manners are being asked to you, instead of solving the power on the delta side, one can directly multiply 3. Or if the initial load is in delta and the power on the star sides are being asked, then one can divide all the values of power by a factor of 3. So please remember this value, that the power for a delta connection is 3 times the power obtained for a star connection for the load impedance values remaining same. So this is a very, very important aspect. So hence this question was very important, and this is actually giving us an important relation between the powers obtained for a star connection and the powers obtained for a delta connection. So out of 7 numericals, I have already solved 3 numericals. The remaining 4 numericals will come up in the next video lecture. If you have any doubt, you can please let me know, or if you have any queries, do let me know. That's all in this video lecture. Thank you for watching.